They are who we thought they were, as the 49ers absolutely dominated the Eagles in an impressive fashion. Everyone played well. Offense, defense, special teams, all three phases. But as you guys already know, it's that time of the week where Steve Young goes on to KBR and kind of shares his thoughts on the previous week's matchup, talks a little bit of Brock Purdy, all that type of stuff. And what better way to hear the Hall of Famer Steve Young talk about the San Francisco 49ers demolishing the Eagles in front of the whole world? Take a listen to what Steve Young says on KBR right here.
I watched the game, and then toward the end of the third quarter, I'm like, what pretenders these guys were. Like, they're not good. They're not. Last year, that defense was smothering. It's not. They've lost people in linebacker that you could just see, like, they didn't have the pursuit. They didn't have, like, they don't have it. I don't know if they can get it back. I know they were tired too, but I was like, we're really good. I mean, I get that part too, but I just felt like a pretender situation. So there you go.
Dang, you're just calling the Eagles pretenders just like that?
I look, you're talking about top of the league. You're talking about the 3 or 4 teams that can go the distance.
Yes.
You're talking about, like, at home, in those clutch big moments, those big games that are going to define the season, define your that's on Sunday they were pretenders. I don't know whether maybe they can
on
maybe
Sunday
they can come back.
Yeah.
But like Debo catches the Texas route and then breaks the tackle and goes and runs for 50.
Yeah.
Like, where's the pursuit? Where's the, like, that doesn't those are the games when you're playing the Falcons and in October, like, it just stuff like that happens. Like, it's the best teams, that doesn't happen. Then at the end of the game, when you got to get the ball back, you got to have it. You got to have a defensive stop, and you throw a slip screen and he touched for 60. Like, no, that doesn't happen. So, and it's great stuff.
Yeah. I would give them this. I mean, I always give a team one mulligan. Just like, okay, that I get that. They played the Cowboys, played the Bills, got the Cowboys next week.
Defense was on the field a lot against the Bills too.
I am with you on this though. That defense is not what that defense was.
No, they're not, and the offensive line is not. That offensive line is not as good. I felt like that game. Last year in the championship game was going to be an all-time game. It obviously didn't work out the way we wanted to, but, like, that's what I was looking forward to this week. I was like, okay, so is this the same guys? And it's just not the same guys. And we're better. We're better than we were in January. And as long as we stay healthy, I hate to do this, right? But it's easy on the radio from 30,000 feet. Like, yeah, lock it up. Sit and, Super Bowl.
They should win it. Yeah, they should.
No, really, they're just not even.
Both of you guys.
Not really anybody. There's nobody
I'm with you,
got
100%.
that.
That's my next thing.
The talent that comes out of that locker room, at receiver, 2 top 5 receivers, a top 5 tight end, a quarterback that's just really understands the system. Everyone says Kyle loves to run the ball. Oh, really? Kyle loves to smash people in offense. Like, and if you give him a chance, he will eat you up. Such innovation, such cool stuff they did last week. And Brock was. That's what we promised. Very tight guardrails, right? We're gonna. Very few mistakes. Ball's coming out. It's and Kyle just works that system so perfectly. I don't want to, in early December, say this team's lock for the Super Bowl, but I mean, I don't know if without injury, how does anyone beat them? I mean, they look as good and talented as a team has been since the Cowboys of the early '90s, ours of the early '90s. They look that good, top to bottom.
What's funny that you don't want to say it, yet that's exactly what you just said.
I know. But it's like we're on the radio and we're just chatting.
We're just on the radio.
Steve gets it. We got a show to do, Steve. You get it.
I'm just chatting. I'm just saying, like, what I'm doing, I'm being honest and realistic. I put the pretenders on it because that's how I felt. Like, and then how else I felt. I'm just telling you how I felt.
I'm Dr. Melfi.
Yeah, like, I'm just telling you how, like, you have, what do you, call someone else then. I'm just going to tell you what I was thinking about, right? I ended the game thinking about that. That's what I was thinking about. Like,
you're the best.
It's not as good, and this team's got to go the distance. There's no chance. So, I mean, by Wednesday, I'm going to lie to you, or I'm not going to be honest with you, or
no. I get it, and I appreciate it. It's just a little shocking coming from you, who's played and knows there's still.
That's why I prefaced it by this is going to be goofy, and so it's easy to do from 30,000 feet. Because that's all the goofballs that watch football think they know everything. I guess I'm a goofball that thinks he knows everything. And like you're in the building, what happens is you're in the building. Oh, thanks, Steve. Yeah, let's just lock it up. Yeah, nothing to do.
Steve
here.
Young says this will get locked up
every week. What do you in between now and the Super Bowl? What do you have on your schedule? It's going to be really tough. Because the rest of us have to go play 8 games to get there and have to go pound it into the flesh. But you just jump on the radio and call it a game. Call it done.
It's over.
Done, right?
It's over.
So I get it. I lived it. I get it. But I'm keeping it real. That's all I can do right now.
Now that's funny. I would have loved to have seen somebody in 1995, December 5th or 6th, whatever it is, come up to Steve and go, "Hey, congratulations on the Super Bowl this year, Steve. Well done."
You guys are gonna lock it up.
Dude, lock it up. Yeah.
Oh, but I do get what you're saying. When you watch this team play. Look, we all feel that way. You watch them play, and I have to remind myself, look, there was a 3-game stretch where they didn't look very good at all, and I don't expect that to come back. But I always remind myself of that. But yeah, when I watch them play, and we get a chance in a couple weeks now, we're going to get a chance to watch them play against Baltimore, and maybe they do the same thing, because not only did they do this to Philly, they did it to Dallas too, and those are the 2 other teams that are atop the NFC. They just crushed them like they were roadkill, just ran over them. So I mean, I get what you're saying when you look at them and go, it's easy to envision this team winning a Super Bowl because of the way they played against the best competition.
Yeah, again, the top 5 defensive line, top 5 linebacking core, this team. We have to say, John Lynch, wow, to put together this roster, and Kyle to deploy him that way, and it's a wow from top to bottom. Yep. And that doesn't mean we know we have to go play him. We know that you can get beat. You know that this is not a lock. I'm smart enough to not say it seriously because you have a lot of work to do. I get that. But everything about it, getting them healthy and really kind of rolling into Philadelphia with a dark, drizzly kind of crowd, and he's let me just punch you in the mouth with 6 straight touchdowns. Let me just do that. 2 a quarter for fun. We're just going to chill for a quarter, and then we're going to punch you in the mouth for 3 quarters and have no answer for it. That just doesn't happen in big games against the biggest teams. What does Philadelphia say from that one? I mean, didn't someone tweet something like, "Oh, you're secondary," some player you need to just hide for a couple of weeks. Go away, let that one simmer, and just see if you can get out of the way of that one because you just got freaking trucked.
It's funny that people are kind of coming late to the Brock Purdy thing. Maybe he is pretty good, or maybe there's still people out there that say, "Well, look at the weapons he has," and I always say, "Well, how come nobody mentioned that with Kurt Warner and Peyton Manning? The weapons they had, they got credit for what they did. Brock should be getting credit for what he. I don't know how anybody now. This doesn't. I don't know what he's going to be like a year from now. I'd be surprised if he fell off a lot, but." He does it every single week. This guy is legit, and if you haven't gotten to that point yet, then you just haven't watched him a whole bunch.
I agree with that, and what we saw right away when he played against the Dolphins a year ago.
Yep.
Is that, and processing power is an eye test. And I think good fans can make this eye test too. You don't have to have played to see something and go, wow, that's different. And the ball's coming out, and it's coming out with a purpose. And that's the dream for quarterbacks. That's look, could he be bigger and stronger and throw it 80 yards? Every week we talk about it. There's things about it that had him drafted where he got drafted. But as far as like facing down every situation, doesn't feel flustered ever. Doesn't feel like even when he's screwing up, it's like I own that. I'll fix that. Don't worry about that. Look away for a minute. I got you covered. Like even in the games when we lost, what do you do when the locker room like I screwed that up? I'm not going to screw that up again. And so there's that mentality that's a part of him that I told you when you say you let him cook. It's like that's who he is. You're not going to have the guardrails are tight. He's not going to bleed all over the floor for you. It's not going to go haywire crazy. There'll be mistakes and things will happen, but there's also things that he's going to have to take 2 or 3 completions to do what maybe a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen can do in 1 or 2. Like that's okay, because he's still going to be very efficient about it and go beat you that way. Like what was it, Princess Bride? Like I'll beat you. Oh no, it was what am I thinking? Monty Python. When they cut the arm off, and I said, "Well, I'll kick you to death." They cut his legs off.
Right.
I'll bite you to death.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you can do here, bro. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose.
It's interesting. I mentioned this about a week ago, Steve, that, and it still holds true because of the last 2 games, that Purdy's yards per attempt right now are higher than Peyton Manning's best season ever and Tom Brady's best season ever.
Amazing.
It really is. And the fact that I think he either leads or is second in percentage, because usually the guys with the highest per attempt are maybe top 10 in percentage, but he make up for it in the depth of their throws. Or the guys that have the highest percentage are usually in the low 7s, mid 7s, but they're not. The fact that he's both of those, I mean, that's stunning. That's not the eye test. That's like right there. Those are
crazy.
facts.
You can't make sense of it because the offense that they run, if you think about the throws, when I say innovation, it's in the same thing we were saying with Jimmy too. Kyle puts this quarterback in a really good spot so that you don't have to go sideline to sideline every play. That you can get the ball, and that's why Brock's so good at getting the ball's coming out. I think the one thing that I think Kyle feels why do you love Brock Purdy? I love him for a lot of reasons, but the most important reason, the ball is coming out. He's processing, and he wants it out. He don't want you double clutching and then coming out of the pocket and then trying to find George Kittle on the side. Like, no, the play I call, I love, and I'm one of the best in the league at this. So run it and get the most of it and get the ball out. You remember the touchdown play, the little bootleg they showed Kyle on the sidelines watching it. He's like, he's gonna throw it to him. He's open. And the coach was like, yeah, okay, good, because that's the way he is. Like he's on it, and he's gonna put you in a good spot. And so that's why. Why do you like Kirk Cousins? Because he wants somebody that can process with me, stay on it, get the ball out, and get people's hands in space. Because that's the game today, and that's why you talk about Yak. Yak is like the bread and butter of this team, and always was for the 49ers in the old days too. It's like put it in people's hands, get it, then let them run, and that's when the stats make no sense when you get all that going in one place. It won't. It's crazy.
I think my favorite part of this whole interview is the part where he talks about and calls the Eagles pretenders. Something about hearing Steve Young talk ball. It's so effortless for him, and why wouldn't it be? He's a Hall of Famer, but everything is just so direct, succinct, to the point, and he brings it home, and he goes as far as calling the Eagles pretenders. And hey, I like hearing that, because to be honest, I mean, that's kind of what he was saying. He's like, look at them. They look like pretenders. That type of beating where the 49ers score 6 straight touchdowns on 6 consecutive drives, like that doesn't happen against the best teams in the league, right? Like he referenced, a bottom feeder team as like that's who that would happen to. So, and I don't disagree with them. Like I was expecting a little bit bigger of a punch from the Eagles, and hey, let's face it, they punched the 49ers in the face in that first quarter, -6 yards on the entire first quarter. And the 49ers were able to right the ship. And a part of that had to do with Brock Purdy, but again, also to just all the weapons that the 49ers have. And man, what a game it's been. It's really been a whirlwind. And hearing Steve Young talk about it and just talk about like how good the 49ers really are and how good Brock is and just like people still trying to doubt him or not have belief in him at this point, whatever. Like I know we react to a lot of it on this channel, and I know Steve Young has been a big believer in Brock from the very beginning. I mean, that's what I love about Steve. I've followed Steve on KMBR, listened to him talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, and then going from Jimmy Garoppolo to Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and then hear him transition, into more just speaking about Trey Lance, and then now Brock Purdy, and he's been right on literally everything. He, some people see it, some people don't, and it's no surprise that the Hall of Famer Steve Young knows how to evaluate quarterbacks. Shocking, but you know it's a situation where people are going to keep taking shots at Brock any chance they get until he just ultimately proves them wrong by likely winning a Super Bowl. Very similar thing happened to Tom Brady. And it's fine. It's going to happen. Just more fuel to the fire. And I think Brock's built for it. I think the 49ers are built for it. And I really do think they are on a crash course for the Super Bowl right now. Like, obviously, that's not even a bold take. It's not a hot take. It's not something that I actually say a lot just because I'm not superstitious, but I don't know. Is it going to be a jinx? I don't think so, because if we're being objective, this is the best team in the NFL, and the best team in the NFL should be playing in the Super Bowl. So I don't think it's crazy to say. It's just something I don't say a lot, but obviously with how they've been playing, it's hard to see them not playing in the Super Bowl at this point. Steve kind of said that. I was like, who's stopping them? The big team left that is going to give the 49ers their best shot right now on the schedule is the Ravens. Other than that, every other game is winnable, and they really do have an opportunity to win out and could potentially get this 1 seed. So, hey, we'll see how it all plays out. But let me know what you guys think about Steve Young going on KMBR. You can listen to the entire interview by clicking on the link in the description. Head over to KMBR's podcast page. They post all the interviews that they do in podcast form. Makes it really easy to sort, click, and listen, and just jump from different interviews. It's really easy to find what you're looking for. Find that in the description. And again, you guys already know where to find me right here. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe for more updates.